What happens when love turns deadly? The Case of Elena Voss reveals a shocking tale of obsession that spiraled out of control, leading to heartbreak and tragedy. As we dive into this chilling story, prepare to uncover the dark truth behind fatal attraction. In the small town of Maplewood, Elena Voss was known for her warm smile and caring nature. She seemed like the perfect neighbor, always lending a helping hand. But beneath the surface, there were whispers of a more complex life that would soon unravel. Elena had recently started dating a charming and charismatic man named Jake, but their relationship quickly took a strange turn. What began as a fairy tale romance began to morph into an obsession that would change everything. As their relationship progressed, Jake's affection soon turned possessive. Friends noticed changes in Elena as she became distant and withdrawn, increasingly isolated from her loved ones. What could have caused this drastic shift in her behavior? Jake's jealousy grew, manifesting in controlling behavior. He would frequently check Elena's phone, question her whereabouts, and even confront her friends. It was clear that something was not right, but could anyone have foreseen the tragic events that awaited? Despite warnings from her friends, Elena felt trapped in a web of love and fear. She struggled to break free from Jake's hold, fearing his reaction. The reality of her situation was sinking in, but hope was beginning to fade. One fateful night, Jake's obsession took a dark turn. After a heated argument, he confronted Elena in a fit of rage. In a moment of despair and self-defense, she made a choice that would forever change their lives. In the chaos, tragedy struck. Emergency services were called, but it was too late. The community was left reeling, struggling to comprehend the horrifying outcome of a love that had turned fatal. As the investigation unfolded, detectives unearthed the twisted dynamics of their relationship. Friends and family shared their concerns about Jake's controlling nature, painting a picture of a toxic bond that had been brewing for months. Elena was charged with a crime she couldn't have imagined. The courtroom became a battleground, with the media sensationalizing the story. As her fate hung in the balance, the question remained, was she a victim or a perpetrator? Throughout the trial, Elena's defense argued that she acted out of fear for her life. Experts weighed in on the signs of abusive relationships, shedding light on the complexities that often go unnoticed in the shadows of love. As the jury deliberated, the community remained divided. Many sympathized with Elena, understanding the depths of emotional abuse. Others believed she should be held accountable for her actions, illustrating the tension between love and justice. The verdict finally arrived, sending shockwaves throughout Maplewood. Elena was found guilty of manslaughter, but the sentence revealed a glimmer of hope for change. The court acknowledged the role of domestic violence in her case. Elena was sentenced to a rehabilitative program rather than prison time. This decision sparked discussions about the need for better awareness around domestic violence and mental health in relationships, a crucial topic that affects many. As Elena embarked on her journey of healing, the community began to unite in raising awareness about toxic relationships. Support groups formed, advocating for those suffering in silence and encouraging conversations around love and respect. The case of Elena Voss serves as a stark reminder that love can be both beautiful and destructive. It urges us to recognize the warning signs of unhealthy relationships and fosters empathy towards those caught in the cycle of abuse. Elena's story resonates with many, reminding us that awareness can save lives. As we reflect on this tragic case, let's commit to creating a world where love is not synonymous with fear. The conversation must continue. What can we learn from Elena's experience? Are we vigilant enough in recognizing the signs of emotional abuse? This case encourages us to listen, to support, and to act before it's too late. As we delve deeper into Elena's story, it's essential to understand the psychological landscape that surrounded her. The affection she once felt had morphed into a perilous obsession, blurring the lines between love and control. Friends noted how Elena became increasingly isolated, a common sign of emotional manipulation. Often, she dismissed their concerns, believing their worries were unfounded. a dangerous denial that ultimately set the stage for tragedy. Elena's partner, known for his charm, exhibited fluctuating behaviors that kept her on edge. One moment, he was the romantic dreamer. The next, he unleashed jealousy that felt suffocating. His unpredictable moods mirrored the volatile nature of their relationship, creating a false sense of safety that Elena clung to desperately. Yet, beneath that charming facade lay a darkness that few could see but those closest to her. As the months progressed, the warning signs became harder to ignore. Friends recounted instances of Elena's partner invading her personal space, both physically and emotionally. He would question her whereabouts incessantly, often turning innocent outings into long interrogations. Each confrontation chipped away at her confidence, leaving her feeling trapped in a cycle of fear and guilt, elements of emotional abuse that are often dismissed or overlooked. The tipping point came unexpectedly during what was supposed to be a romantic getaway. Instead of the idyllic escape they planned, the weekend devolved into chaos. After a minor disagreement, his anger erupted, and for the first time, Elena witnessed the terrifying side of her partner. It was a moment that left her shaken, revealing the depth of his possessiveness and the devastating potential of his rage. Following that weekend, Elena struggled to reconcile the loving partner with the man filled with rage. She confided in her closest friend, who urged her to seek help and reassess their relationship dynamics. But Elena felt torn. She loved him and believed he could change. This internal battle is a common theme in cases of emotional abuse, where victims often hold on to hope against the stark reality of their situation. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the tension only escalated. Elena would find herself apologizing for things she didn't do, a manipulation tactic that eroded her sense of self. Friends watched helplessly as she slipped further into silence, her laughter replaced by a hollow demeanor. This transformation highlighted the insidious nature of emotional abuse, where the victim feels compelled to take on blame, further reinforcing their partner's control. Elena's partner employed a classic technique known as gaslighting, making her question her reality and sanity. He would twist facts, convincing her that her memories were flawed. This manipulation left her walking on eggshells, unsure of her perceptions or feelings. The constant doubt she experienced became a primary weapon in his arsenal, slowly dismantling her self-worth and spirit. Despite the turmoil, there was a brief moment of hope when Elena decided to seek therapy. It was a courageous step that allowed her to voice her experiences and begin to understand the cycle of abuse she was trapped in. However, her partner's reaction to her newfound assertiveness was concerning. He perceived it as a threat, and paranoia crept back into their relationship, escalating the tension further. Elena's improved mental state did not sit well with her partner. He began to isolate her further, cutting off ties with supportive friends and family members. This tactic is common in abusive relationships, as it strengthens the abuser's grip on the victim. A once vibrant social life faded into solitude, leaving Elena feeling more vulnerable and reliant on her partner, deepening her isolation. As Elena found herself more entrenched in this isolating environment, she sought solace in her journal. Writing became her escape, a way to express her fears and document the reality of her relationship. However, the journal also became a point of contention. Her partner discovered it and raged against her perceived betrayal, intensifying the cycle of control and fear. The moment of truth arrived when Elena realized she could no longer live under constant scrutiny and fear. After a particularly explosive argument, she made a decision that would change everything. In a rare moment of bravery, she reached out to a domestic violence hotline seeking help and a path to escape. This pivotal choice was not easy, but it marked the first steps toward reclaiming her life. The support she found was life-changing. Counselors educated her on the signs of emotional abuse and helped her devise an escape plan. This newfound knowledge empowered Elena, providing her with the strength to see her situation clearly. However, her partner's increasing suspicion added a layer of danger to her journey. as he began to notice subtle changes in her demeanor. Elena's resolve hardened as she prepared for her escape. She meticulously planned every detail, from gathering important documents to arranging a safe place to stay. Each step was fraught with anxiety, knowing that one misstep could reveal her intentions. Still, the fear of remaining trapped outweighed the fear of the unknown, a powerful motivator for her to break free. Timing was crucial. She waited for a day when her partner had to work late, creating the perfect opportunity to slip away unnoticed. In the quiet hours of the early morning, after months of suffering, she took a deep breath and put her plan into action. This moment was the culmination of her courage and resilience, a testament to her strength in the face of adversity. Elena's heart raced as she drove away from the life that had nearly consumed her. The fear of being discovered lingered, but so did a sense of liberation. She had escaped the oppressive grip of her partner, but the journey to healing and recovery was just beginning. There were deep emotional wounds to address, but for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope. Her first days of freedom were a whirlwind of emotions. While there was relief in her escape, the shadows of trauma loomed large. She sought therapy again, this time focusing on healing from the psychological scars left by her partner. Each session forced her to confront the pain she had bottled up, gradually allowing her to reclaim her identity and rebuild her life. As Elena worked through her emotions, she also began to reconnect with her friends and family. Those relationships, once strained by her isolation, blossomed anew as she opened up about her experiences. Friends rallied around her, offering support and understanding, reminding her that she was never truly alone. This reconnection played a vital role in her healing journey. However, the road to recovery was not without its setbacks. Flashbacks of her traumatic experience often intruded, causing moments of anxiety that she had to navigate. Learning to cope meant understanding that healing is not linear. Some days felt harder than others, but with each challenge, she grew stronger and more resilient, finding coping strategies that worked for her. Elena also began to explore advocacy work, using her experiences to help others recognize the signs of emotional abuse. She volunteered at organizations that supported victims, sharing her story to inspire hope and resilience. This newfound purpose fueled her recovery, as she realized her voice could empower others to escape similar situations and reclaim their lives. Through her advocacy, Elena discovered the strength of community support. Connecting with other survivors allowed her to share coping strategies and foster a sense of belonging. These interactions illuminated the widespread nature of emotional abuse, reinforcing the need for continued education and awareness in society. Elena became a beacon of hope, showing others that they too could break free. Elena's journey was not just about her escape, but also about creating change. Her newfound voice resonated with many, and she began to work on campaigns aimed at raising awareness about emotional abuse. Through workshops and social media, she educated others on the importance of recognizing red flags and fostering healthier relationships. This proactive approach became a crucial part of her healing. As her advocacy efforts grew, so did the community's response. Local news outlets picked up her story, highlighting the urgent need for discussions around emotional abuse. Elena found herself in interviews and discussions, sharing not only her experience but also the empowering message that healing is possible. This public platform amplified her voice, allowing her to reach even more victims in silence. However, Elena was also mindful of the emotional toll of her advocacy. Each story she shared reopened old wounds, reminding her of the pain she had endured. To manage this, she established boundaries and practiced self-care, ensuring she could sustain her efforts without compromising her mental health. This balance became essential as she continued her mission to help others. In time, Elena's story transformed from one of victimhood to empowerment. She became a symbol of resilience, inspiring countless individuals to seek help and recognize their worth. The emotional scars may remain, but they no longer defined her. Through her journey, she learned that healing is not just about moving on, but about forging a new path filled with strength, purpose, and hope. Elena's advocacy work continued to evolve as she sought to engage younger audiences. By partnering with schools and universities, she initiated programs aimed at educating young people about healthy relationships and the signs of abuse. This proactive approach sought to prevent future generations from experiencing the same trauma, emphasizing that awareness and education are vital tools in combating emotional abuse. As her programs took off, Elena noticed a shift in conversations surrounding emotional abuse among youth. Young individuals began to speak out, sharing their experiences and recognizing the need for change. This cultural shift was a testament to the power of education and awareness, showing that change is possible when voices unite for a common cause. Elena felt a profound sense of purpose as she watched the next generation rise. Reflecting on her journey, Elena realized that while the scars of her past would never completely fade, her story could be a catalyst for change. Every workshop, every conversation, and every life touched by her advocacy became a part of a larger narrative aimed at eradicating emotional abuse. Through her struggles, Elena transformed her pain into purpose, highlighting the resilience of the human spirit. Elena's story teaches us that emotional abuse is often hidden in plain sight, and raising awareness is crucial for prevention. By sharing her experience, she not only reclaimed her life, but also sparked a movement for change. Her journey encourages us to listen, learn, and act, reminding us that support and understanding can create a safer world for all. With newfound resolve, Elena began to document her experiences in a journal. Each entry became a cathartic release, allowing her to process the trauma she had endured and to articulate her feelings. This act of writing not only provided solace, but also served as a crucial step in her healing journey, empowering her to reclaim her narrative. As Elena's confidence grew, she started to connect with support groups for survivors of emotional abuse. Here, she found solace among individuals who understood her pain. Sharing her story and listening to others reinforced her belief that healing is a collective journey, often requiring community support. Elena soon realized that raising awareness was vital. She began to advocate for education on emotional abuse, speaking at local schools and community centers. Through her talks, she aimed to equip young people with the knowledge to recognize warning signs and the importance of healthy relationships. Despite her progress, Elena faced challenges. Some individuals questioned her experiences, casting doubt on her validity. This skepticism only fueled her determination to continue her mission, reminding her that enlightening society would require persistence and resilience against naysayers. One evening, Elena received a message from a fellow survivor who had been inspired by her story. This unexpected connection reinforced her belief in the power of vulnerability. They began exchanging messages regularly, forming a bond that underscored the healing potential of shared experiences. Elena's newfound purpose prompted her to launch a blog dedicated to sharing her journey and offering resources to others. Through her writing, she connected with a broader audience, inspiring others to come forward about their own experiences and seek help. As her blog gained traction, Elena was approached by local media outlets interested in her story. Interviews and features began to appear, highlighting her advocacy work. She embraced this opportunity to spread awareness further, utilizing the platform to reach those who may still be suffering in silence. Elena also engaged in workshops focusing on self-care and emotional resilience. She collaborated with mental health professionals to create programs that helped others navigate their healing journeys. These workshops became a safe haven for participants, fostering empowerment and building confidence. However, not all feedback was positive. Elena faced online harassment from those who disagreed with her views on emotional abuse. The attacks were harsh, but she chose to rise above the negativity, reminding herself of her mission and the lives she was impacting. Amid her advocacy work, Elena also focused on her personal growth. She explored holistic practices such as yoga and meditation, which provided her with tools to manage stress and anxiety. This journey inward became as vital as her outward efforts, helping her cultivate inner peace. Elena's efforts soon caught the attention of a prominent nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting survivors of abuse. They reached out to her, proposing a partnership to amplify their reach. This collaboration marked a significant milestone in her journey, showcasing the power of combined efforts in raising awareness. Engaging with the organization opened new doors for Elena. She participated in national campaigns and events, bringing her story to a larger audience. Each appearance served as a reminder that her pain could transform into a powerful force for change, impacting communities across the nation. Elena's narrative began to shift from one of victimhood to that of a warrior. She often referenced her journey as a battle, emphasizing the importance of fighting for oneself and others. This perspective not only inspired her, but also resonated deeply with her followers, creating a community of resilience. As the years passed, Elena was approached to write a book detailing her experiences. The idea of sharing her full story in depth excited her, presenting a new challenge. This endeavor was not just about her. It was about shedding light on the realities of emotional abuse for all who endured it. Writing the book forced Elena to revisit painful memories, but she approached each chapter with courage. She wanted to ensure that her story was not just about survival, but also about empowerment, offering insights and advice to help others navigate their own journeys. Upon completion, the book was well received, garnering praise for its authenticity and rawness. Elena's vulnerability resonated with readers, many of whom expressed gratitude for her willingness to share her truth. The book became a beacon of hope for those feeling isolated in their struggles. Elena's experiences led her to start a podcast where she interviewed other survivors and experts in the field of emotional abuse. Each episode became a platform for storytelling and education, creating a rich tapestry of voices that echoed the importance of awareness and advocacy. Through her podcast, Elena discovered the diverse impacts of emotional abuse on different individuals. Each story she featured illuminated the unique battles faced by survivors, reinforcing her belief that no two journeys are identical, yet all share the common thread of resilience and hope. Elena also took the opportunity to collaborate with therapists to develop workshops that focused on emotional intelligence and healing. These workshops aimed to equip participants with tools to navigate their relationships more healthily, emphasizing the importance of self-awareness and boundary setting. In her advocacy, Elena faced another turning point when she was invited to speak at a national conference on emotional health. This platform allowed her to share her insights with professionals in the field, fostering discussions on the importance of addressing emotional abuse in therapy. Elena's advocacy began to inspire policy changes within various institutions, including schools and community organizations. By sharing her story and educating others, she aimed to create safer environments that recognized and addressed emotional abuse on a larger scale. As her influence grew, Elena reflected on the importance of community support. She advocated for local initiatives that provided resources for victims of emotional abuse, helping to bridge the gap between survivors and the assistance they needed to heal and thrive. Despite her successes, Elena remained grounded. She often returned to her roots, spending time with family and friends who had stood by her throughout her journey. These moments of connection reminded her that healing is as much about relationships as it is about personal growth. Recognizing the power of storytelling, Elena began to mentor young advocates in her community. She shared her journey and encouraged them to find their voices, fostering a new generation committed to raising awareness about emotional abuse and advocating for those in need. Elena's journey also led her to collaborate with artists and creators to develop visual campaigns that depict the realities of emotional abuse. These artistic expressions aimed to challenge stigma and foster understanding in the community, transforming pain into powerful messages. In a poignant moment, Elena organized a community event focused on healing through art. This gathering invited local artists and survivors to share their work and stories, creating a safe space for expression and connection. The event became a symbol of hope and resilience. Elena's impact reached beyond her community, as she was invited to speak internationally at conferences dedicated to psychological health. Each opportunity to share her story on a global stage reinforced her belief in the necessity of open dialogue about emotional abuse. During one of her international trips, Elena encountered a survivor from another country who shared starkly different experiences with emotional abuse. This encounter highlighted the universal nature of the issue, emphasizing the need for cross-cultural advocacy in education. As Elena continued her advocacy, she maintained a focus on self-care practices. She often reminded her followers that healing is a lifelong journey and that nurturing oneself is crucial to sustaining the fight for others. This balance became a vital message in her work. Reflecting on her journey, Elena realized that her story was no longer just about her past. It had transformed into a movement, inspiring countless others to break their silence and seek help. The ripple effect of her advocacy continued to grow, touching lives far and wide. Elena also collaborated with researchers to contribute to studies on emotional abuse and its long-term effects. By sharing her story and insights, she aimed to provide a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding emotional trauma and healing. Through her research collaborations, Elena learned about the psychological impacts of emotional abuse. This knowledge further fueled her advocacy as she began to incorporate scientific insights into her talks and workshops, enhancing the understanding of her audience. While Elena thrived in her advocacy, she faced moments of doubt and exhaustion. Overcoming these feelings required her to lean on the very community she had built. Their support became a reminder that even advocates need to recharge and seek help when necessary. As her journey continued, Elena initiated a mentorship program for young advocates. This program aimed to empower the next generation with the tools, knowledge, and confidence to advocate for themselves and others, ensuring the movement would grow beyond her efforts. Elena's book became a bestseller, and its impact reached readers from all walks of life. The conversations it sparked about emotional abuse were invaluable in destigmatizing the topic. Her story served as a catalyst for discussions that had long been avoided. With the success of her book and podcasts, Elena launched an annual conference focused on emotional health and abuse awareness. This event became a platform for survivors, advocates, and mental health professionals to connect, learn, and foster discussions that could lead to change. As the conference grew, Elena was able to secure funding to expand its reach. This funding allowed for scholarships for survivors to attend, ensuring that financial barriers did not prevent anyone from participating in this healing space. The annual conference became a beacon of hope for survivors, providing resources, workshops, and a sense of belonging. Elena's vision to create an accessible space for healing and connection was finally realized, impacting lives beyond her own. Elena's work inspired numerous articles and research papers about emotional abuse, contributing to a growing body of knowledge. Her journey added depth to the understanding of its impact, particularly on mental health, while advocating for better resources and support systems. In her personal life, Elena found joy in new relationships. Having learned from her past, she prioritized emotional health and boundaries, ensuring her new connections were based on mutual respect and support. This transformation reflected her growth and healing. With each milestone, Elena continued to reflect on her journey. She understood the importance of celebrating progress, both big and small. These reflections often inspired her to remind others that healing is a continuous process, filled with ups and downs. As the movement grew, Elena remained committed to her mission. She often traveled to various communities to deliver workshops and talks, ensuring her message reached those who needed it most. Her dedication to spreading awareness was unwavering, fueled by the hope of a brighter future for survivors. Elena's journey of healing and advocacy continued to inspire countless others. As she looked back on her progress, she recognized how far she had come. This realization fueled her dedication to ensure that no one would have to suffer in silence, reinforcing her commitment to her mission. Through her tireless efforts, Elena transformed her pain into purpose. She became a symbol of resilience, showing that it is possible to rise above adversity and advocate for change. Her legacy would continue to empower future generations in the fight against emotional abuse. Elena's ongoing journey reminds us that recovery is not linear, but each step towards healing is significant. As she inspires others to share their stories, we are left with a powerful message. Together, we can create a world where emotional abuse is recognized, addressed, and ultimately eradicated. As Elena navigated the tumultuous waters of recovery, she found solace in support groups where survivors shared their stories. Each meeting was a safe haven, allowing her to confront her trauma and learn from others who had experienced similar pain. These gatherings became pivotal in her healing journey, fostering a sense of camaraderie among those seeking understanding. Inspired by her shared experiences, Elena began to speak publicly about emotional abuse, raising awareness in her community. Her voice echoed through local schools and community centers, educating young people on the signs of unhealthy relationships. With each speech, she dismantled the stigma surrounding emotional abuse, empowering others to recognize their worth. But not everyone appreciated Elena's newfound voice. Those who thrived in ignorance often retaliated against her efforts, dismissing her claims and labeling her as a victim seeking attention. This pushback, however, only fueled her determination to advocate for change, pushing her to reach even more individuals previously unaware of emotional abuse. During one of her advocacy events, Elena met a fellow survivor, Mia, who had faced a similar battle. Their bond grew quickly, built on mutual understanding and a shared mission to eradicate emotional abuse. Together, they launched a campaign that would shine a light on the issue, bringing resources and support to those in need. As their campaign gained traction, the duo organized workshops and seminars that engaged a wider audience, fostering dialogue about emotional abuse. They invited experts to discuss the psychological effects and provided coping strategies for victims. The community began to rally behind them, recognizing the importance of breaking the silence. Elena's journey continued to unfold, revealing the complexities of healing and advocacy. She faced setbacks, including moments of doubt where the shadows of her past loomed large. But she learned to lean on her support network, embracing the idea that recovery is not a straight path but a winding road filled with ups and downs. In one emotional workshop, Elena shared her story with a group of teens, hoping to inspire them to recognize unhealthy relationships. As she spoke, she could see their faces change, reflecting realization and empathy. This moment solidified her belief that her voice could spark change, making her struggles worthwhile. As the campaign progressed, Elena's story attracted media attention, leading to interviews and documentaries that amplified her message. The media spotlight brought both support and scrutiny, but Elena stayed focused on her mission, fueled by the hope of creating a safer future for others. While the campaign gained momentum, Elena faced an unexpected challenge when her abuser resurfaced in her life. Although she had grown stronger, this encounter threatened to unearth old fears. With the support of her friends and therapists, she learned how to confront her past with resilience rather than fear. Elena chose to address the situation head-on, seeking legal counsel to understand her rights and protect herself. This decision was a crucial turning point in her journey, signifying her reclaiming control over her life. With each step forward, she became a beacon of hope for others grappling with similar issues. The community's support for Elena and her campaign snowballed, leading to a significant movement against emotional abuse. Schools began implementing programs on healthy relationships, and local organizations stepped up to provide resources. Elena's efforts proved that one voice could indeed spark a wildfire of change. As her movement gained national attention, Elena was invited to speak at a conference on domestic violence. This platform allowed her to share her story on a larger stage, reaching more individuals than ever before. Each word she spoke resonated with those who had endured similar pain, creating a powerful connection. However, with visibility came criticism. Some questioned her motives and authenticity, attempting to undermine her hard work. Rather than allowing the negativity to consume her, Elena leaned into her support system, reminding herself that her journey was valid, regardless of others' perceptions. Recognizing the importance of mental health, Elena began collaborating with psychologists to develop resources tailored for emotional abuse survivors. These materials provided practical coping strategies and affirmations to help individuals regain their confidence and sense of self-worth. As her resources circulated through communities, Elena began to witness the tangible impact of her work. Survivors reached out to share their stories of recovery and gratitude, reinforcing the importance of her advocacy. Each message reminded her of the lives she had touched and the change she had inspired. Reflecting on her journey, Elena realized how far she had come since her darkest days. She had transformed from a victim into a powerful advocate, using her voice to fight for those who couldn't. Her story became a testament to resilience, proving that healing is not only possible but also empowering. Elena's influence reached beyond her community, inspiring similar movements across the nation. People began to speak out against emotional abuse in their own lives, creating a ripple effect that could no longer be ignored. The conversation had shifted, and the tide was turning against such insidious behavior. Knowing that every story mattered, Elena founded an organization dedicated to supporting survivors of emotional abuse. This platform provided resources, workshops, and a community for healing. It became a hub for empowerment and education, furthering the fight against emotional violence. Elena's organization thrived, offering scholarships for survivors to attend therapy programs and educational workshops. This initiative not only helped individuals heal, but also empowered them to advocate for themselves and others. Elena believed that knowledge was the first step toward breaking the cycle of abuse. As the organization expanded, Elena collaborated with various mental health professionals to develop comprehensive training for educators on how to recognize and address emotional abuse in students. This initiative aimed to create a safer environment for future generations, instilling the values of respect and empathy. Elena's relentless efforts caught the attention of lawmakers who began to draft legislation aimed at protecting victims of emotional abuse. Her advocacy work had transcended community boundaries, now influencing systemic change. Elena knew this was just the beginning of a long road ahead, but she remained optimistic. With each passing day, Elena's narrative became synonymous with hope and resilience. The media celebrated her story, featuring her in articles that highlighted the positive changes her work had inspired. She became a face of a movement, symbolizing the fight for survivors everywhere. Throughout it all, Elena never forgot the importance of self-care in her recovery. She actively participated in yoga and meditation, finding peace amidst the chaos of her advocacy work. These practices grounded her, reminding her that her well-being was essential to her mission. Elena Voss's journey from victim to advocate is a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. In transforming her pain into purpose, she has not only healed herself, but has also ignited a movement that empowers countless others. As we reflect on her story, we must ask ourselves, how can we support the fight against emotional abuse in our own lives and communities?